Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor." That truth holds even when the victim of injustice is someone as privileged as a princess. As a society, if we can't protect a princess, how can we expect to protect a pauper? In this podcast episode, we shall be talking about why the royal mistreatment of Harry and Meghan should matter to us all. Now, my name is Brian, and welcome back to Sussex Squad Family TV on YouTube. Kindly like, subscribe for daily and consistent content. Now, let's continue. By February 2019, less than a year after Harry and Meghan got married, tormenting the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, had become a national sport in the UK. Newspaper commentators, the Daily Mail, The Sun, every single day were harassing, bullying, insulting Meghan on national TV. It became a national sport. The abuse was tolerated as ritual hazing. The price that Meghan Markle had to pay for being allowed to marry into the royal family while being a mixed-race woman. But in the new Apple TV Plus documentary series, The Me You Can't See, Prince Harry details the mental toll he and Meghan endured as they spent 4 years trying to make it work in their royal roles, while their pleas for help were met with total silence or total neglect from the royal family. Ultimately, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex had enough, and they chose to step back in order to put their own family and mental health first. And because of doing that, they were bullied even more. Especially Meghan. Harry has shared the lessons he's taken from that experience, but there are lessons for us as a society that we also need to learn. Despite drawing praise from members of the public and charities they met, the Sussexes quickly found themselves the Goldilocks of the royal family, to work for the conservative British newspapers that traditionally support the monarchy, having a progressive biracial woman and a prince who acknowledges the UK systemic racism, in the UK, at the center of their royal coverage was definitely not on brand. Instead, the tabloids effectively repurposed the dog-whistling racism typically emblazoned on front-page stories of black British celebrities like Stormzy and Raheem Sterling for Meghan. It was Meghan's turn to experience racism at the hands of the UK tabloids after Raheem Sterling and Stormzy, black celebrities in the UK. They've even talked about it. The likes of Stormzy have talked about what Meghan experienced in the UK, the racism that she experienced. Each and every single person knows that Meghan experienced racism. Every single person knows that from all across the world now. And too privileged to be shielded by the liberal papers, Meghan's track record of feminism was intriguing but not enough to counter their desire to abolish the monarchy completely. Too white passing for many in the black community who questioned why Meghan married a colonizer in the first place. They claimed she knew what she was getting into, as if a racist smear campaign spanning multiple continents was par for the cause. They really thought that Meghan knew that if she joined or married Prince Harry, she will experience the worst form of abuse and smear campaign spanning different continents. The UK, Australia, where Rupert Murdoch owns the media there. Every single place, basically smearing Meghan every single day, day and night, for crimes of closing a wrong avocado or eating an avocado that apparently causes some drought or famine. If I may ask you, I still don't understand. How does an avocado cause drought and famine? I still haven't been able to get it. These so-called racist tropes that they have used against Meghan are currently even being used against Vice President Kamala Harris. It's so common, and they do it every single time. And unsurprisingly, Fox News, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, is promoting the same tropes, racist tropes, against the now current Vice President of the United States of America, Vice President Kamala Harris. And the same things, oh, she's difficult, has been used against not just Kamala Harris, but Meghan as well. And you need to be able to spot the racism because it is there. You don't have to look further. For instance, Vice President Mike Pence was the most incompetent vice president in history. He still did not get a lot of flack the way Vice President Kamala Harris, who is currently building a great economy for the United States of America after the COVID-19 crisis and after Republicans have already battered the US economy. And denying Meghan's blackness, which she has never done, back to Meghan, became a double-edged sword. It provided white columnists a colorblind shield for their racism, while black people were too trapped by our own legacy of colorism, arguing whether a prince would have been allowed to marry a woman as dark-skinned as Lupita Nyong'o, or to defend a princess just as biracial as Harry's teenage crush, Halle Berry. Black Brits in the media didn't have enough security in their own positions, a fly in the milk in predominantly white British newsrooms to stick their neck out for the American-born Duchess. Now in the UK, there are not many prominent people of color working in the media. As a matter of fact, minorities working in the media have been so suppressed that you can only basically see white British journalists working for UK tabloids. And still, minority guests on Church Show endeavored to explain the subtle racism and misogyny and 400 years of racism in 4 minutes or less. Her Herculean task on their best day, made utterly impossible when debating a woman like Rachel Johnson, who believes it's a compliment to describe a biracial woman as having rich and exotic DNA that will thicken Harry's watery, thin blue blood. Also, noticeably quiet was Rachel's brother, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, while 78 women members of parliament eventually wrote an open letter condemning the outdated colonial undertones in national newspapers. Prime Minister Johnson didn't take up the mantle to defend Meghan as his predecessor. David Cameron had for her sister-in-law, Kate Middleton. Meghan couldn't count on much of a defense from 10 Downing Street, not when a US trade deal was being dangled by former President Donald Trump like bait for a big-mouthed bass. Boris Johnson, a man who had once referred to black people as pickaninnies with watermelon smiles, had bigger fish to fry. Boris Johnson, brother to Rachel Johnson, the one who made racist comments towards Meghan. Now, Meghan experienced so much racism at the hands of the royal family and the UK tabloids. So much racism. And you can clearly see it right in front of you. They couldn't hide their racism towards Meghan. Now, I'm not going to publicly display the images of racism that Meghan has had to endure at the hands of the UK tabloids. But make no mistake about one thing. If you are a member of the Sussex Squad, you have seen what Meghan has been through. And it's often said that the measure of society is how it treats the weakest members. But the treatment we tolerate for the strongest members is just as surely a measure of our humanity. It's hard to feel sorry for a beautiful, wealthy couple who became an easy scapegoat for a nation embroiled in the contentious politics of Brexit and a war on wokeness. Yet Meghan's royal title and coat of arms were a little shield for the racism and xenophobia that Meghan experienced. Were a little shield for the racism and xenophobia that Meghan experienced. Now, today, we've seen that recently Meghan won a court case against the UK tabloid. She won. And I recently saw a member of the so-called carnival of so-called experts going on national TV, knowing that Meghan will be making millions from the Daily Fail due to the fact that the Daily Fail illegally printed her private letter and made millions from it, from illegally publishing it, breaching Meghan's copyright and privacy. Now, only Meghan knows what to do with the money that she has won. No one else will ever tell Meghan what to do with the money that she has won. It's she who has suffered at the hands of the UK tabloids. It's she that's had to face a miscarriage on her own alongside her husband and her mother. The pain that they've had to face for losing a child, Meghan bore it. And no one should ever have to tell Meghan what to do with the millions that she'll make from the Daily Fail. Remember, no UK anti-bullying charity ever stood up to defend Meghan when she was facing abuse. Only 70 members of parliament were compassionate enough to write a letter in support of Meghan. Only them supported Meghan. No one else did. No one else did. And we, the Sussex Squad, also saw what Meghan was experiencing, and we supported her and will continue supporting her on to 2022. The royal family and the British tabloids won't just be racist towards Meghan in peace. We'll hold them to account. Make no mistake whatsoever about that. What Meghan does with the money that she has won from the Daily Fail is her personal business. And British carnival of so-called experts should not stick their noses into Meghan's private dealings after she won the case against them. This is her business, her money. No one tells Meghan what to do with her money. With so much love from Sussex Squad Family TV. Stay tuned for our next video. Hello, Sussex Squad Family TV on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed our video podcast today. Kindly like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your support means the absolute world to us. Please like, and subscribe. Help us grow our family on YouTube. Stay tuned for our next video.